Hiya, been away for a while, not really been feeling like uploading. I've mostly just been spending my time and money just accumulating old tools. I've been going to a lot of auctions and a lot of boot sales within the last couple of months. And mainly something to do with my family, but I've accumulated a nice collection of old tools, including some knives and multi-tools. Multi-tools that I actually thought I would never own. So I've got a couple of interesting pieces to show you here today. So I'll just start off, where shall we start? Let's go with this. So this is one that I got in a small shop up in Perth. I actually got this on the day of my chainsaw assessment. Unfortunately I actually failed the assessment, but I went into a nice wee shop and got this on the way home, which is quite nice. So every time I look at this, I can feel pissed off that I failed. So that's nice. So this is actually a George Woostenholme, which is a knife that I thought I would never own, or a knife maker, excuse me, because I thought they were a lot more expensive, but I paid £20 for this, which I'm quite happy with. I don't know how long, or if George Woostenholme's even still around, but I do believe some of them can fetch a pound or two, if you know what I mean. This is quite a nice example, I think. I really do like that bone, the red jigged bone. It's got a rather nice clip point blade and it's heavily worn. I'm quite happy to have paid £20 for that. Now, I'm not sure if this is vintage or antique, as it was an antique shop I bought it from. I really don't know. It's probably just vintage. It's probably 30, 40, 50 years old. If you have any information on this knife, I'm more than happy to hear it. Now, this is something I've been really into recently, is buying these. I'm just going to call it a King Dick style spanner because it's usually King Dick that did these. This design goes back to like 1880 something. This one was made by a brand called Tent, which I have never heard of. I like this style of spanner. They're no longer around. There's no one that really makes them anymore. But you can buy these quite cheap at car boot sales and things like that. I don't even know what I paid for it, to be honest, because there's a guy that I went to and I basically just picked up a bunch of tools, including a Stanley hammer, by the way, and said, "What do you want for that?" And he said, "A fiver." And me and the girlfriend both had like 2 piles of tools in our hand, so that's pretty excellent. I didn't really have to do a whole lot of this, a whole lot of work on this. I just shoved it in the evaporust and wire wheeled it, so that's nice. Where shall we go to now? Right. Now, Stanley knives. Why am I showing that? That's not very exciting at all. Yes, I know, but it's a real one, as in it's a Stanley England. I said in my last video that I'm on a mission to buy quality tools because now people are going to call me racist or whatever. I don't really care. I'm just sick of things being made in China. I'm getting hell of a pissed off finding things that's not at least made within the UK. It's something that's really getting on my nerves. Like, we should be able to buy things that's made here. Now this is a vintage one, but at least I know where it was made. Now the cool thing about this, and I'll just use this, and I'm going to get to this in a minute. The cool thing about this is a bit awkward because this screwdriver is really long. Now, there is a point to this before you think, "Oh, what's he doing? This is getting boring. Come on, my time's valuable." I know your time's valuable. Just give me a second. Bear with me, because this caught me by surprise. And I paid £1 for this, by the way. Ready for this? I can't believe that. What, there's a bit of rubbish in there? No, it's never been used. I think that's the original blades, still in the wax paper. So that was quite a surprise. I'm really happy to have paid £1 for that. I've picked up 4 of these now. A couple of them's going to go to my mate because he feels the exact same. We're just looking for quality tools that'll last a lifetime. Now, will the Asian made tools last a lifetime? Yeah, they will. But it's not as nice. As far as I'm concerned, we should be able to buy British tools and we should be able to pass them down. That's the whole point of this. my point is, no one's going to find a Chinese tool and get excited about it when I'm gone. You know what I mean? Any of you who like to look through old tools or anything, even old knives, you find something old in your granddad's shed or whatever, you know what it is, it's worth keeping, if you know what I'm trying to say. On that note, I've also picked up a few of these. I grabbed this one because it's green. Most of these tend to be silver. I've got a small pile of these just because I plan on dotting them around the house, both my sheds, toolboxes, etc. So, quite like these. This is the non-retractable version. I think I've probably got about 5 or 6 of this style. Just because they're so cheap. It's kind of been annoying me looking for them and not being able to find them. So when I did find them, I just bought a pile of them. Speaking of Stanley, right, little bit of a rant here. Me and a friend have been basically on the same mission to buy British made, if not European and American made. We could not, for the life of us, find a hammer that meets that description. Now, I could hear you shouting at the screen, Estwing, Estwing, Estwing's made in America. Yes, Estwing is made in America. The one with the blue handle is made in America, and the one with the leather handle is made in America. However, Estwing does a wooden handle version that's made in Taiwan. So I bought that version thinking this is great, this is made in the US, this is a quality product. Then my mate bought the exact same hammer, and then he also bought a Ripclaw hammer to find that it says made in Taiwan. That just made us both furious, so I've just been on a mission to buy the old English ones. And it took me a little while, because I bought like 4 or so old claw hammers, just honestly out of principle, because it was just annoying me that much. It took me a little while, but I finally found the Stanley. I know there's nothing exciting about an old Stanley claw hammer, but this is the sort of thing that just fills me with joy, and you might be shocked, but this fills me as much joy as knives does. Now, the old screwdriver. Very boring, isn't it? Yes or no, but it's another thing that I quite like. And to be honest, if you like multi-tools, why do you not like screwdrivers? Because one of your main functions of the multi-tool is a screwdriver. Why not get some quality ones? Yes, these are a bit outdated, however, I like doing woodworking, and most of the old planes, Stanley Record, whatever, take a flat bladed screw. Believe it or not, the proper name for this is actually a turn screw, not a screwdriver. This is quite a long example. Maybe paid like 50 pence for this or something. It's got a broken handle. I do have a lathe, but I think the best thing for me to do would just be to sort of flatten this out and glue another piece on and reshape it, because this is not round, it's an oval, so I'm not really good with off-center turning, so I think I'll just repair this one using a spoke shave and a file. Right, don't know who actually likes old tools or not. I know for a fact that you like multi-tools, that's why you're here. So I'll show you two just now, just to keep your attention. So as I said, my dad and I has been going to some auctions, and this is what I got today. Now, believe it or not, these didn't sell. I didn't bid because I wanted to bid on a few boxes of tools which went for higher than I was willing to pay. Now, the starting bid of these two was, take a guess, £20. It didn't sell. We spoke to them and they agreed to sell it to us for the reserve price of £20. So, Leatherman Wave, Black Oxide. It's not the Wave Plus, which would have been nice, but I'm happy with this. I would have paid £20 for this by itself, and to be honest, I actually thought there was only one item, but there was actually two, so there's nothing wrong with that. There's a little bit of wear on the Black Oxide, which is to be expected, but to my absolute shock, because I expected everything to be mangled, I expected this screwdriver to be snapped. It looks barely used. It is rather tight, I will admit that. The scissors look like they've... it's really tight. Well, not going to break my nails, but the scissors are pretty much perfect. The eyeglass screwdriver's been used a little bit. To my absolute shock, it's still got the original bit. Can opener's fine as well. But Scotsman, I bet you the blades are snapped. Yeah, I thought so too. The only problem is they're a bit stiff. That one's barely been used. Flip it round. This one is really stiff. I think someone's over tightened this. There we are. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. There's a little bit of a chip that I think there is. Oh, maybe not. Bit dirty, needs sharpened. It's not too bad. Wood saw. Been used a little bit. Could do with a clean. To be honest, all it needs is a clean and a sharpening and it'll look brand new. File. That's been used a bit on some wood. Someone's done their nails with that. So that, and we'll put it over here. In fact, I need to come back to that in a minute. Where is the other one? Not that. There it is. And this one. A Gerber Crucial. So what's wrong with this one? Nothing. I think there's only about 5 tools on this. So you've got the knife, you've got the carabiner, which also doubles as a bottle opener. Does this one lock? No, it doesn't. We've got a pair of screwdrivers. And of course the pliers. If I can remember which way to open it. The pliers aren't too bad either. A little bit misaligned. And it looks like someone's tried to cut something that they probably shouldn't have with that. But £20 for the pair. Well, the Gerber Crucial is about £50 new off Amazon, and the Leatherman Wave is, what does a black oxide wave sell for now? I know we're on the Wave Plus, but I think the Wave black oxide is still about £80. You tell me, a Gerber Crucial and a black oxide Leatherman Wave for £20. It works out at about £22 once I paid the fee at the auction house. What shall we look at next? Stanley. Personally I prefer Record, but I do quite like Stanley as well. So there was a guy who, there was another lot at the auction that I wanted to bid on. It went for a bit more than I was willing to pay. However, the person who bought the lot just buys them and sells them on anyway, so we asked if they'd be willing to sell us this and a bill hook. I forgot to bring the bill hook to the video, never mind. This and a bill hook for £4. Well, you could probably fetch about £15 just for this, and it is a Stanley England. Now, I'm quite happy with this because it's just got a bit of rust in it, just needs a bit of a clean up and a sharpen. Other than that, this will work brilliant. And if we just take off the cap iron, this is exactly what I like to see. Stanley, made in England. And if we look at the body of the plane, England, so this is a vintage plane, as Stanley no longer makes planes in England. By the way, if you are looking for British made tools, Stanley actually does manufacture some tools in the UK. Stanley makes some of their chisels in Sheffield, and they've got a couple of other hand tools that they make in Sheffield as well. If you're ever in B&Q or Homebase and you see the yellow Sureforms, a lot of them are actually made in England as well, and they're not too expensive. The chisels are about £10 to £12 each. I think that's a really good price for a British made chisel. What shall I show you next? Right, Sunday Market, that's where I got this. This is a Maglite Mini. I was wanting one of these for a while, but I didn't really feel like paying £20 for it because I know they are a bit dated. I know that you get better torches, and to be honest I have a couple better ones. Well, I got this plus another one, and I can't remember what the other tools were, for about a £5, which is pretty good. Now, the other Maglite was the exact same, only it had the red filter in it. It was completely stuck, so I think the batteries have corroded in the other one or something. The cap just would not move. This is a bit tight, but I can get it off. And I'm really happy to say that this one actually does work. So this is going to get added to my EDC box, because I was wanting just a standard AA battery torch. So any love for Maglites out there? I've been told by quite a few people that they're crap and I should get something better. Yeah, I've got something better. I've got a Phoenix and a Nightcore, which I do quite like. My Phoenix torch, by the way, I've had that for about 7 or 8 years, and it's saved me really well. It served me really well. Sorry, I think it's about 1,000 lumens. Right, I'm going to save the best item till last. Little scout knife. Now, your opinion, please. The seller was suggesting this is from the 1930s to the 40s, and it's a Sea Scout rigger's knife. Now, £5.50 for this. I ended up paying less because I picked up a couple items and asked them what I wanted for it. Didn't pay a lot. I'm quite happy with it. The handle on this is beechwood, and it is, of course, a bit worn. Scout knife. Now, I'm going to try and show you the tang here. Can't actually see it, but it actually says forged steel, foreign make. Now, have you seen foreign or foreign make on anything else? Because that doesn't actually mean Chinese or Asian. If anyone has any information on this, I really would like to know. My understanding is if it says foreign, it's made in Germany and it was going to the British or American markets, or it was American and it was going to the British and German markets, or something along the lines. I've got a small 6-inch spanner that also says foreign. So that's my understanding. So if anyone knows anything about that, it's something to do with import laws around that time period. Either that, or it's because certain people didn't like certain other people, or I really don't know. Some political nonsense. If anyone has any information, I would love to know. And if you know where this knife was made and by who, I'd love to know, because there's actually no manufacturer's information on it. Now, the spring is how you'd expect. There's no snap on it at all. There's no spring in this. Maybe I'll use this, maybe I won't, I don't know. And of course it's got the spike, which I always pronounce wrong. Merlin, whatever, fight me. But that's an alright wee knife for less than a £5. I did actually mean to say the back spring on this is brilliant. It's really nice and snappy. That's nice. Going to have to try and speed this up a bit because I'm taking up too much time. Right, this, just because it's cool. This could be an EDC by itself just because it's very pocket friendly. This is a Rayburn Chesterman made in England. This is a 3-fold foot rule, metric and imperial. I just like these small measuring instruments. That's handy if you're going out to do something and you don't really need a tape measure. I thought about just keeping this in my pocket, but I guess if I've got a Leatherman, there's not really much point. But 50 pence all day long, not a problem. On that note, a bit less exciting. Don't know who made this, but it is made in England. Nothing fancy at all, not even a pocket clip. It's just a nice vintage tape measure. And I think it does about 3 meters, metric and imperial. I've just got a bit of a thing for vintage and antique tools. Not very exciting, I know, but believe me, I absolutely love this. Now, what have I not showed you? Oh yeah, I had a question for you guys. This one here, this Leatherman Wave, says patent pending, whereas on the other one, it does not. Is that anything interesting? Does this make this a little bit more collectible or anything? I assume not, but I'm guessing this one is earlier than this one. So if you have any information on that, I'd like to know. I'd assume that there's millions of those out there and it's nothing interesting. Right, you probably already know what this is. An old straight razor. I've been after one of these for quite a while. Got it in the same auction house as I did those Leathermans and that Stanley Plain. Just on the off chance that someone asks where, I don't really feel like saying. I've got my reasons for that. But this is in alright condition, I would say. It came very sharp and I paid £15 for this. Now this is probably worth quite a bit more than I paid for it. How much, I don't know, but I did look up this name and some of them were over £100. But it did come nice and sharp, and I did try shaving with it, and it was a bit nerve-wracking, because having a literal razor to your throat is a bit scary, I will say. But I'm getting a bit fed up paying for razor blades, and I don't like the idea of using an electric one. And to be honest, this is a buy once, cry once. You use it, you've got it for the rest of your life, the way that it should be, because I really cannot stand this disposable society we live in, which is exactly why I'm going to repair that screwdriver, and why, well, that's my hobby, to be honest, repairing old tools. I'm not professional, I don't do it professionally or anything like that. It's just something for me to do. I don't restore them, I just clean them up and make them usable. Now, this is the most exciting, I would say, because I wasn't really thinking I was ever going to own one of these, and I wasn't really going to go out my way to buy one. But while I was out at the Sunday market, I went into a small stall that basically sold militaria, and I had a feeling they would sell knives, because usually places that sell militaria sell knives. And this was the one and only Leatherman that they have. Okay, do you want to take a guess what it is? The size of the pouch and the style of the logo probably tells you what it is. It's a Leatherman Mini. I didn't think I was ever going to own one of these, because I think they're worth a couple of quid. Now, the condition of this is quite good. I think it's actually never been used. I don't have the box, I don't have the instruction manuals. It just came as seen, as you can see even. So the file looks like it's never been used, nor has the screw been turned. Go to the other side. The knife doesn't feel sharp, but it also doesn't look used. So I'm guessing these didn't really come very sharp. I think that's a factory edge. Your opinion is welcome. But I think this is unused. Look at the teeth on the pliers. I don't know about you, but I would say that's never gripped anything in its life. What do you reckon? Never used? When I bought this, I thought about using it, but after seeing what these can sell for, I think I'm just going to keep it as is. I'm not looking to sell it at the moment. I may or may not. I really don't know. But I'm quite happy to have it in my collection, and I've got no plans on using it. So, want to take a quick guess on what I paid for this? I'll give you a second. £15. I was absolutely utterly shocked when the guy said £15. I went into the stall and asked how much for that Leatherman, and as soon as he said 15, I was utterly convinced he was about to say 50. £15 for that. I couldn't refuse that for £15. Now, a lot of you will know better than me, what is this actually worth, on the off chance that I do decide to sell it. My understanding that this, in this condition, as I have it, is about 75 to 100. Your input is welcome. I think that's all for today. That went on a little bit longer than I wanted to. But if you enjoyed this kind of video, please let me know. Excuse me there, I just got a phone call. That put my thoughts off. But if you're interested in this kind of video, if you like old tools, let me know. I know that you like knives, I know you like multi-tools. That's what the channel's about, but I do want to do more on this. I've also picked up some really nice old axes. I've got a braids, a Vetterlings, vintage braids, vintage Vetterlings I should say, and I think I've got a vintage Ailwell axe as well. So if you're interested in any of that sort of thing, or what I showed you, or if you're interested in planes or chisels, do let me know. Right, I'll leave it at that. I'll see you after.